Chapter 4. Zolesh. I push aside the heavy animal hide serving as Tornu's door, the familiar scent of smoke and dried herbs enveloping me as I step inside. The fire pit in the center casts a warm, flickering light across the space, throwing dancing shadows on the walls of the stretched hides. The hides, varying shades of brown and tan, are worn smooth from years of use. My eyes are drawn to the far corner, where Tornu's storyteller's staff leans against a collection of woven baskets. The staff, taller than me by a hand's breadth, is made of a dark, polished wood. Its surface etched with intricate symbols and adorned with small feathers and beads. How many times have I seen him grip that staff, his voice resonating with tales of Taka and the Ancient Ones. The memory of my first time hearing the creation story flashes through my mind, and I can't help but release a deep sigh that's been stuck in my chest throughout the whole ordeal with the lake and the tribe. Ancients, the whole tribe saw what happened. Hanging from the ceiling, bundles of dried plants sway gently. Some I recognize from Tornu's lessons on healing, others still a mystery to me. The plants range from deep greens to muted browns, their leaves and stems twisted and curled with age. Below them, my uncle sits cross-legged on a pile of soft furs, his weathered hands working a piece of wood with a stone knife. Tornu's face, lined with age and wisdom, is illuminated by the fire's glow, highlighting the silver strands in his beard and the crow's feet around his eyes. "Yoren," he says, looking up at me with a warm smile that crinkles over the corners of his eyes. "Come, sit with me." As I move to join him, I notice a large piece of bark propped against the wall, covered in scratches that form a crude map. The bark is rough and dark, its surface marred by the intricate lines and symbols that make up the map. My heart quickens at the thought of the lands it might depict, lands beyond our borders that I long to see. I settle onto the furs across from Tornu. The scent of smoke and herbs fills the air, but it does little to calm my nerves. I honestly don't want to talk about what happened today. The beehive, the lake, Ansel and Ekra. It all seems to press down on me at once. I don't even know why I did what I did. The last thing I want right now is to talk about any of it. Tornu looks up from the bone carving, his hands pausing in their work. The bone, pale and smooth, is taking shape under his skilled fingers. "So, I hear you've taken up fish wrangling. Thinking of replacing old Caldo as our master fisherman, are you?" Clearly, he's trying to get me to open up about today in the same way he always has wriggled his way into my thoughts, with joking. And any other day, I might have laughed, might have played along with his jest. But today, the words hit me like a stone to the gut. I force a weak smile, my eyes fixed on the dancing flames of the fire pit. "Come now," Tornu continues, his tone softening as he sets aside his work. "I thought you'd be bursting with questions of the story of your expedition today. Usually I can't get you to shut your trap about the world beyond our borders." I nod absently, barely registering his words. In my mind, I'm back at the lake, the cold water closing over my head, the net tangling around my legs. I shudder involuntarily. Tornu's expression shifts, the humor fading from his eyes as he takes in my silence. Tornu's eyes narrow as he studies me. "Out with it, boy. What's got you wound tighter than a snare?" I swallow hard, torn between my desire to confide in him and my fear of disappointing him. "It's nothing, Uncle. I'm fine." "Roan's breath, Yoren. You're a worse liar than a fox with feathers in its teeth." Tornu's voice is gruff, but there's concern beneath it. Tornu's words press against my mind, each one reminding me just how different I am, how out of place I feel. The memory of the tribe's eyes on me, their judgment, their whispers, it's like a weight I can't shake off. My fists clench and unclench, my chest tightens as if trying to hold back something ready to burst. I can't stop the thoughts racing through my head. Lolly's sneer, Ekra's contempt, the way they all looked at me like I was some weak, useless thing. The way Tornu coddles me and doesn't ever let me explore the world he's so damn fond of. Why does everyone hate me? The words just fall out before I can stop them. Sharp, raw. Ancient Ones, could I be any more dramatic? Tornu's eyebrows shoot up. Everyone? Or Lolly and Ekra? I feel my face flush. It might as well be everyone. You didn't see how they all looked at me today, after the lake. Tornu sighs, reaching for his bone pipe. As he packs it, I can see him choosing his words carefully. "Well, I can't speak for everyone, but there is one whose story I know well enough. Lolly's hatred is not about you, but about loss." "Loss?" I scoff. "What do I have to do with her losses?" "You specifically? Nothing. But your family, more than you know." Tornu mutters. He lights his pipe, the sharp scent of meadowsweet filling the air. How could I have anything to do with her losses? We both lost our parents, and I certainly wasn't part of the raiding party that killed hers. I couldn't have been, given I was only a baby. Tornu takes a long draw from his pipe, exhaling slowly. You know the story of the Holdardok raid, of course, in which her parents fought valiantly, but were ultimately cut down by those raiders from the North Sea. But it's not just about losing her parents. It's about her sister, Feli. I nod, recalling the whispered stories I've heard over the years. The healer, right? Yes. Tornu's eyes grow distant. Feli was special. In a tribe of warriors and hunters, she had a gentleness about her, a gift for healing that we hadn't seen in generations. I lean forward, intrigued. It's rare to hear anyone speak of Feli. Not even Tornu shares stories about her. After the raid, Feli raised Lolly, taught her about herbs, about caring for others. For a while, it seemed Lolly might follow in her footsteps. Tornu's voice grows heavy. But then the wasting sickness came. A chill runs down my spine. The sickness that took my parents. Feli worked tirelessly, trying to save everyone she could, including your parents, Yoren. Tornu's eyes meet mine. She was with them day and night, searching for a cure. I feel a lump forming in my throat. And then she got sick too? Tornu nods solemnly. Lolly was just 9 when Feli passed. In her grief, she blamed your parents for her sister's death, and when they succumbed. She blamed me, I finish, the realization hitting me like a blow from Weka's hammer. Grief can twist a heart, Yoren. Ekra took Lolly under her wing after Feli passed, but I fear she's nurtured that bitterness rather than helping Lolly heal. Tornu sighs. Lolly's become what she thinks her warrior parents would have wanted, forsaking Feli's gentler ways. As Tornu's words about Lolly sink in, I feel a fleeting moment of sympathy. Loss like that, it changes a person. But then I remember her sneers, her constant jabs, the way she seems to delight in my struggles. Understanding her pain doesn't erase the pain she's caused me. Yeah, her life's been hard, but so is mine. Doesn't give her the right to be such an ass. I had no idea, I say with as much feigned compassion as I can muster. Tornu waves whatever guilt I might have felt away with his hand as if it's a pesky fly. Not that there really was any. It's not your fault, Yoren, and it does not excuse the way she treats you. But it is certainly time you knew. But that's not what's really eating at you, is it? Tornu asks, peering into my soul with a single eyebrow raised, taking another long draw off his pipe. I look away, unable to meet his gaze. Ekra. She told me to bring in the boulder nets. Tornu's silence is deafening. When I finally look back, his face is a storm of emotions. Anger, disappointment, fear. And you listened? His voice is dangerously quiet. Tornu's knuckles whiten as he grips his pipe, the tendons in his neck visibly tightening. I didn't want to seem weak, I snap back, immediately regretting my tone. Tornu slams his fist on the ground, making me jump. Weak? Tuck's dirt, boy. Weak is following blindly. Strength is knowing your limits and standing your ground. How many times have we had to have this conversation? His words sting, but deep down I know he's right. I always seem to know the right thing to do, but I don't seem to have the will to defy being told to do otherwise. But for some reason, I feel anger boiling up inside me, and a part of me rebels. How am I supposed to know my limits if you never let me test them? You keep me cooped up in this village like a crippled bird. I feel the heat rising in my cheeks, my hands balling into fists at my sides. My chest heaves with each breath, the words pouring out like water bursting from an old, worn water skin. Tornu's eyes flash. You think I'm holding you back? You have no idea what's out there. Then show me. I'll be safe if I'm with you, won't I? I shout, surprising myself with my vehemence. The silence that follows is thick with tension. Tornu stands abruptly, his movement so sudden I flinch involuntarily. His face a mask that I can't seem to get a read on, as he moves to the back of the tent. You want to see what's out there? His voice is low, controlled, unnerving. I've never been intimidated by my uncle. Shit, I must have seriously hit a nerve. He turns away sharply before I can finish. Yep, definitely hit a nerve. Tuck, damn it. Tornu's hands are shaking slightly as he runs a hand through his gray mane, no longer held up by a headband. He's silent for a long moment, stealing a glance my way and quickly averting his gaze into the flames within the fire pit, staring at the fire as if searching for answers within the flames. I see his shoulders tense. Finally, with a sigh that seems to carry the weight of 1,000 unspoken words, Tornu reaches for the bark map hanging on the hide wall. Fine, he says, more to himself than to me, as he throws the map down at my feet. Tomorrow, we start preparing for a journey. Not to the borders, not yet, but further than you've been before. As Tornu throws the map down at my feet, my eyes are drawn to a strange marking near the edge. It looks almost like a horse's hoof print, but that can't be right. We don't have horses in our tribe, and I've never seen one beyond drawings Tornu's made in the dirt when telling one of his stories. I open my mouth to ask about it, but the tension in the air is palpable. Tornu's stern expression makes it clear that now is not the time for questions. I swallow my curiosity, focusing instead on the journey ahead. My heart leaps, but an uncertainty gnaws at me. After today's disaster, am I really ready? And I'm not really sure I want to know what he's planning on showing me with how agitated I've made him. Tornu must see the doubt in my eyes. Having second thoughts already? I thought you were ready. No, I lie, then let out a sigh. Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to let you down. Tornu's expression softens, and I see my uncle again. Something I've never told you, Yoren. I had a son once, he says, his voice just above a whisper. He was like you, curious, eager. Tornu's eyes, usually so sharp and alert, seem to cloud over, focusing on something far beyond the tent walls. The weight of this revelation hits me like a boulder rolling down a mountain. Tornu had a son? My own uncle? And I never knew? How much more is there to this man that I have no idea about? I open my mouth to ask more, but Tornu's pained expression stops me. There's more to this story, but it's clear he's not ready to share it. Uncle, I begin, unsure what to say. Tornu shakes his head, cutting me off again. The wilds beyond our borders are beautiful, Yoren, but they're also dangerous. More dangerous than you know. I nod slowly, a new understanding dawning. Is that why you've been so cautious with me? Partly, Tornu admits. But it's also why I know I must prepare you. I can't hide you from the world forever. I know that. You're too damn persistent for that. But I swore to my brother, your father, that I would protect you. And by Grod, I aim to keep that promise. But enough for tonight. Meet me at first light, and I will take you. Tornu's words hang in the air between us. First light. A journey beyond anything I've seen yet. My heart races with a mix of excitement and fear. Uncle, I begin, my voice hesitant. What exactly will we be doing out there? Tornu's eyes narrow, studying me. Testing your limits. Isn't that what you wanted? I swallow hard. Yes, but... what should I prepare for? Pilly, why did I instigate an argument instead of just asking? A wry smile plays at the corner of Tornu's mouth. Prepare? You wanted to test your limits, boy. True tests don't come with preparations. My stomach churns. This isn't what I meant at all. I wanted adventure, yes, but not to be thrown into the unknown without any guidance. But surely there's something... Enough! Tornu cuts me off, his voice sharp. You claim to be ready. Prove it. I feel my face flush with anger and frustration. How am I supposed to prove myself if I don't even know what I'm facing? But I can't back down now. I've pushed for this, and backing out would only prove Tornu right about my unreadiness. Fine, I say, my jaw clenched. I'll be ready. Tornu nods, his expression unreadable. Good. Now get some rest. You'll need it. As I turn to leave, a thought strikes me. Wait, what about my duties in the village? The fish cleaning, I'll speak with Ansel, Tornu interrupts. Your only duty now is to be prepared for whatever comes. I nod, a mix of emotions swirling inside me. As I push aside the hide door, the cool night air hits my face, and reality sinks in. What have I gotten myself into? Back in my own tent, I lie awake, staring at the hide ceiling. My mind races with possibilities, each more terrifying than the last. What if I fail? What if I prove Tornu right, that I'm not ready for the world beyond our borders? What happened to Tornu's son that I never even knew existed? But beneath the fear, a spark of determination flares. I've wanted this for so long. I can't let fear hold me back now. Whatever Tornu has planned, I'll face it. I have to. The pre-dawn air is crisp against my face as I meet Tornu at the village's edge. He stands silent, a pack slung over his shoulder, his eyes scanning the tree line. Without a word, he turns and starts walking. I follow, my heart pounding with each step that takes us further from the safety of our village. As we trek through the forest, the familiar sights and sounds gradually give way to the unknown. The trees grow taller, their canopy thicker, casting deep shadows across our path. Strange bird calls echo in the distance, sending shivers down my spine. Hours pass, and the terrain becomes more challenging. We cross babbling streams, their icy water numbing my feet. We navigate through dense underbrush, the leaves and branches seeming to grab at my clothes. All the while, Tornu moves with a silent grace that I can only envy, barely disturbing a twig as he passes. By midday, my legs ache and my stomach growls, but Tornu shows no signs of stopping. Just as I'm about to ask for a rest, he holds up a hand, signaling me to halt. "Listen," he whispers. I strain my ears but hear nothing unusual. Then faintly, I catch it. A low rumbling sound, like distant thunder. "What is that?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Tornu's eyes glint with something I can't quite read. "You'll see. We're close now." We press on, the rumbling growing louder with each step. Finally, we emerge from the tree line into a small clearing. Before us looms a sheer rock face, stretching up farther than I can see through the mist. At its base, a waterfall crashes down, the source of the thunderous sound we've been hearing. "Uncle," I venture, breaking the hours-long silence, "where exactly are we? Have we reached the border?" Tornu shakes his head. "No, Yoren. We're still well within the Takakin lands. The border lies beyond that ridge." He points to a distant line of hills barely visible through the mist. "I told you, we're not going to the borders. Not yet. But from up there," he nods toward the top of the cliff, "you'll be able to see further than you ever have before." He turns to face me, his expression unreadable. "You want to see beyond our everyday sights? Then climb." I stare at him in disbelief. "Climb? But I've never—" "You said you were ready." Tornu cuts me off, his voice hard. "Prove it." My stomach churns with a mix of fear and determination. This is insane. I've never climbed anything higher than the oak in the village center. But I can't back down now. I won't. Taking a deep breath, I approach the rock face. My hands shake as I reach for the first handhold. It's rough against my palm, more secure than I expected. I pull myself up, searching for the next grip. The first few meters aren't so bad. I find a rhythm, testing each hold before trusting it with my weight. But as I climb higher, the handholds become scarcer, the ledges narrower. My arms start to burn, muscles I didn't even know I had screaming in protest. Halfway up, I make the mistake of looking down. The ground swims dizzyingly far below, and my stomach lurches. Roan's breath. What am I doing? I'm no climber. I'm gonna fall and break every bone in my body. "Keep moving, Yoren!" Tornu's voice carries from below, snapping me out of my panic. Right. Keep moving. Don't think about the height. Don't think about falling. Just find the next hold. I reach for a protruding rock, but as soon as I put my weight on it, it crumbles away. Before I even recognize what's happening, I'm falling. A scream tears from my throat as I scramble for something, anything to grab hold of, and slow my descent, my fingers scraping painfully against the cliff face. By some miracle, my left hand finds a crevice, and I jerk to a stop, dangling by one arm. If it's not dislocated, it's definitely close. Pain shoots through my shoulder, and I grit my teeth against a cry. "Yoren!" Tornu shouts, his voice tight with worry. I'm okay," I call back, though I'm anything but. I squeeze my eyes tight. My heart hammers in my chest, and I can barely hear anything over the rush of blood in my ears. As I cling to the rock face, my arms burning, I realize this isn't just about seeing what's closer to our borders. If I can't even manage to get up over this damned cliff, there's no way in the void that I can venture out past it to even reach the Takakin borders. "Come on, Yoren, you can do this. You have to do this." I take a deep breath in, breathe out. I chance a look below me, searching for the surge of confidence I can typically find in my uncle's eyes. Shit, I should not have looked down. I don't see him anywhere through the mist, but I also don't see the ground, which is not as comforting as I might have thought. I feel sweat gathering on my palms and my fingers as they begin to slip. Slowly, painfully, I pull myself up, searching desperately for another handhold. My fingers find a tiny ledge, barely wide enough for my fingertips. It'll have to do. As I continue to climb, the mist from the nearby waterfall begins to soak into the rock face, making the surface slick and treacherous. Each movement becomes a gamble. Will this hold support me, or send me plummeting to my death? The higher I climb, the stronger the wind becomes, whipping against me, threatening to tear me from the cliff face. The roar of the waterfall is deafening now, drowning out everything else. Water sprays against my face, getting in my eyes, making it hard to see. My arms feel like lead, my fingers numb from the cold and exertion. Every movement is agony, but I can't stop. I can't let Tornu down. I can't let myself down. Just as I think I can't go on any further, my hand finds the top edge of the cliff. With a final, Herculean effort, I haul myself over, collapsing onto solid ground. I lie there, gasping for breath, my whole body trembling with exhaustion and residual fear. I did it! I actually did it! When I finally find the strength to lift my head, I see Tornu sitting nearby, watching me with an unreadable expression. How long has he been there? How did he make it up so quickly and easily? Well done, he says softly, and despite my exhaustion, I feel a surge of pride. As I slowly push myself to my feet, my muscles protesting every movement, I look out over the forest stretching endlessly before me, and a sense of awe washes over me. I've never seen so far, never felt so free. I turn to Tornu, 1,000 questions on my lips, but he holds up a hand to stop me. Look, he says, pointing to the horizon. See that line of hills in the distance? That's the border of our lands. Everything between here and there is still Takakin territory, but few of our people ever ventured this far. As my eyes scan the vast expanse before me, I'm frozen in awe. In the sky, a creature I've only heard about in Tornu's tales soars majestically. A dragon. Its scales shimmer like polished bronze in the sunlight, wings spread wider than our largest tents. I gasp as it suddenly tucks its wings and dives, moving faster than anything I've ever seen. My heart leaps into my throat as it plummets towards the earth, only to pull up at the last second, snatching a creature, the shape of a deer but covered in thick, shaggy fur, in its massive talons. Rome's breath, I whisper, my voice trembling. They're real. Dragons are real. What other things from Tornu's stories exist? Are Jola's stories and tales of magic and magical beings real too? There's no way. Tornu's stories always seem to be grounded in reality, but Jola, I don't think she's ever really been all there in the head. Tornu nods silently beside me, but I barely notice, too captivated by the scene unfolding before us. My gaze shifts to a clearing where 2 griffins engage in what must be a mating ritual. Their eagle heads bob and weave, lion-like bodies circling each other gracefully. Suddenly, they rear up on their hind legs, front talons interlocking as they beat their wings furiously. The display is both beautiful and terrifying, a dance of power and grace I never imagined possible. A thunderous sound draws my attention to the forest floor. My jaw drops as I see the source. Dracoliths. I've heard stories of these ancient beasts, but seeing them in person is overwhelming. A massive one, easily as tall as 3 of our tallest warriors stacked on top of each other, crashes through the trees. Its scales are a deep forest green, blending seamlessly with its environment. Behind it, a smaller Dracolith follows, its hide a mottled brown. Look there, Tornu points, his voice low. See the differences? I nod, noticing now the variety among the Dracoliths. Some walk on 2 legs, others on 4. I spot one with a long neck stretching up to feed on high branches, while another has bony plates running down its back. There are so many kinds, I breathe, trying to take it all in. A movement in the underbrush catches my eye. A pack of wolf-like creatures emerges, their fur a deep midnight black with streaks of silver. They move with a deadly grace, clearly on the hunt. As I watch this tapestry of life unfold before me, I'm struck by a whirlwind of emotions. Wonder at the sheer diversity and beauty of these creatures, fear at their obvious power and deadliness, excitement at the thought of possibly encountering them up close, and underneath it all, a newfound respect for the world beyond our borders. I turn to Tornu, my mind reeling. How have we never seen any of these creatures near our village? Tornu's expression is grave. The ancient ones protect us, Yorin, but venture too far, and we enter their domain. He gestures to the scene before us. This is why I've been so cautious. One wrong move out here. He doesn't need to finish the thought. I watch as a Dracolith casually knocks over a massive tree with its tail, and I shudder. The dangers are clear. I understand now, I say softly, my eyes still drawn to the wondrous and terrifying scene before us. I see why you wanted me to be ready. And are you? As a dragon's roar echoes across the landscape, sending flocks of birds scattering in panic, I realize that my dreams of exploration have been naive. For the first time, I begin to grasp the weight of what I've been asking for. I swallow hard, and my eyes drawn back to the incredible scene before us. Am I ready? The question echoes in my mind as I watch a dragon swoop down to snatch a fish the size of a small raft from the lake, its power both beautiful and terrifying. I don't know, I answer honestly, but I know I want to be. Looking at the world spread out before me, I feel something shift inside. The boy who started this climb, so sure of himself, so eager to rush into the unknown, seems naive now, so quick to accuse my uncle of keeping me trapped. I turn to Tornu, understanding in my eyes. I'm not ready yet, am I? Tornu nods, a mix of pride and relief on his face. No, you're not. But recognizing that is the first step to becoming ready. I take a deep breath, looking back at the vista. I want to learn, Uncle. I want to be prepared for all of this. Will you teach me?
That's why we're here, Yorin,
Tornu says, placing a hand on my shoulder.
Your real training begins now. Stay with me. Do not venture off on your own, and you will become ready. But as you see, the world out there is more dangerous than you are prepared for.
As we prepare to start making our way down, something catches my eye. Near the edge of the cliff, partially obscured by loose stones and dried leaves, I spot what looks like a series of large indentations in the ground. Curious, I move closer, brushing away the debris. My breath catches in my throat. They're footprints, but unlike any I've ever seen. Massive, easily twice the size of my own feet, with strange clawed toes. The shape is almost human, but not quite. For a moment, a chill runs down my spine as I imagine what kind of creature could have left these marks. I shake my head, forcing myself to be rational. They're old, the edges softened by time and weather. Probably just degraded prints from a Takakan hunter, distorted by erosion. Still, as I turn back to Tornu, I can't quite shake the uneasy feeling they give me. As we begin our descent down the opposite side of the cliff from where we climbed up, I feel different. Older somehow. The world is bigger and more dangerous, but every bit as wondrous as I ever imagined. The forest grows denser as we push further from the cliffside. Tornu's words from earlier echo in my mind. Stay close, Yorin. The dangers here are more than you can imagine. But the thrill of discovery pulses through me, making it hard to heed his caution. As we navigate through the underbrush, a flicker of movement catches my eye. Uncle, look! I point to a small, furry creature, no bigger than my fist, with large ears and a fluffy mane. Tornu nods approvingly.
Good eye. That's an aerospark. See how it seems to glow faintly?
I watch, fascinated, as the creature uncurls from its ball-like shape, its fur rippling as if caught in a gentle breeze. How does it do that?
The aerospark harnesses the energy of the air around it, Tornu explains. In the old tales, they were said to be born from the breath of Weka himself.
We continue our trek, the forest revealing more wonders with each step. Massive trees with bark that seems to whisper towards the sky tower over us, their trunks wider than 3 men could encircle with their arms. Tornu identifies them as sagewood trees, their ancient wisdom beyond our comprehension. Their leaves, a deep emerald green, rustle softly in the breeze. I can't help but feel a mixture of awe and unease as we pass underneath their towering forms. Do they watch us? Judge us? Ancient ones, I hope not. As we pass a cluster of luminous mushrooms, their caps glowing a soft blue-green in the forest shadows, Tornu stops abruptly.
Low-cap fungi, he warns. Beautiful, but dangerous if ingested. Remember, Yorin, not everything that shines is safe.
I nod, committing the sight to memory. The fungi's eerie glow is mesmerizing, and I have to force myself to look away. The forest floor is a masterpiece of life. Delicate ferns unfurling their lacy fronds, strange insects with iridescent shells scuttling between gnarled roots, and flowers that seem to reach toward us as we approach, their petals a riot of colors against the forest's muted tones.
Blink blossoms,
Tornu murmurs with a smirk, gesturing to the outstretched flowers. Their stems bend toward us, the blooms expanding outward away from themselves.
They can sense intentions. Seems they've taken a liking to us.
I eye the blossoms skeptically. Their vibrant colors are stunning, but the way they move on their own is unsettling. It's as if they're watching us, and I can't shake the feeling, or the fact, I suppose, of being watched by the very forest itself. I guess if plants are going to judge us, though, I'm glad at least these ones seem to think I'm okay. Hours pass as we delve deeper into the unknown. The familiar sounds of our village fade, replaced by the symphony of the wild, bird calls I've never heard, the rustling of unseen creatures, and the constant soothing rustle of leaves in the breeze. Through all the wonderful sights and sounds, something new catches my attention. Uncle, I venture, breaking our comfortable silence. Do you smell that? Tornu pauses, his nostrils flaring slightly as he takes in the air. His eyes narrow.
Smoke,
he confirms, his voice low and tense. Following his gaze, I spot it. A thin column of smoke rising above the treetops in the distance, barely visible through the dense canopy. People? I ask, excitement bubbling up inside me. There are others out here? Tornu's expression darkens.
It seems so. But we should head back for now, Yorin. We've gone far enough for one day.
Is he serious? I've never met anyone outside our own tribe before. And to think, they're so close as to be within our own borders. What? But we've barely explored at all. We have to see who's out there.
No, Tornu's voice is firm. It's not safe. We don't know who they are, or if they're friendly.
No. I'm not sure why, but I can't accept the answer. Frustration boils up inside me. You don't know that they're not, either, and we won't find out if we don't look. You promised to show me the world closer to our borders, but all I've seen so far is a glowing ball of fur and some plants. It was a cool ball of fur, I'll give it that. But fuck those judgmental plants.
Yoren, listen to me.
I'm done listening. Before I can think better of it, I'm running, crashing through the underbrush towards the distant smoke. I hear Tornu calling after me, but I don't stop. For once, I'll see something new on my own terms. As I run, the wall of defiance begins to crumble into a pile of creeping doubt. The forest seems different now that I'm alone. Darker, more menacing. Every snapping twig makes me jump. What if Tornu was right? What if I've made a terrible mistake? Just as panic begins to set in, I burst into a small clearing and find myself face to face with a stranger. He's tall and lean, with muscles that speak of a life spent in the wilderness. Intricate tattoos cover his arms, telling stories I can't read. His skin is sun-darkened, weathered by the elements. In his hands is a spear, its point aimed directly at my chest. The spearhead gleams wickedly, clearly well-maintained and deadly sharp. Oh, shit. Tornu was right. I made a mistake. A huge, damn mistake. Seems to be a lot of that lately. In the last 2 days, I've nearly died 3 times. I'm doing great, but my luck had to run out sometime, I guess. He's going to run me through with that stick, and there's nothing I can do about it now. We stand facing each other, and he looks just as shocked as I feel. I realize I need to say something quickly if I want to have any chance of getting out of this mess. I mean you no harm, I stammer, hoping he understands. The stranger's eyes narrow, but then a smile breaks across his face.
Welcome, stranger,
he says, his accent thick but somehow familiar.
Where you come from?
I blink, surprised. His words are strange, yet I can understand them. And I'm not dead, yet. So, I'm going to consider that a plus for now, anyways. I'm from the Takakin tribe, I reply slowly, my voice cracking at the end. Damn puberty. Do you know of us? His eyebrows shoot up.
Takakin? You be kin to Taka himself?
He lowers his spear completely. What is happening?
We too claim Taka as our ancestor. My be Zolesh of Dasunatak.
As we begin to converse, the differences in our speech become apparent, yet there's an underlying similarity that allows us to communicate. It's as if we're speaking dialects of the same ancient language, diverged over generations, but still connected by our shared history. In fact, their tribe name, Sunatak, is similar in meaning to our own Takakin. They call themselves the Sons of Taka, and we are Taka's kin. How many more people are out in this wide world that I could learn from? How much more is there that Zolesh and I can learn from each other? My pulse quickens at the myriad possibilities. Just as Zolesh and I are beginning to find common ground, a crashing sound from the forest interrupts us. My heart sinks. I know that sound all too well. Tornu bursts into the clearing, his face a storm of emotions. Relief, anger, and suspicion all warring for dominance.
Yoren,
he bellows, then freezes as he spots Zolesh. His eyes narrow, darting between us, clearly assessing the situation. Zolesh tenses, his earlier openness replaced by wariness. His grip on his spear tightens, though he keeps it lowered.
Who be this young Takakin?
He asks, his voice cautious. I swallow hard, my heart racing. Void, take me, I'm in for it now. This is my uncle Tornu, I explain, trying to keep my voice steady. Tornu, this is Zolesh. He's from the Sunatak tribe. They're descendants of Taka too. Tornu's eyebrows shoot up, but his stance remains defensive.
Is that so?
He says, his tone neutral, but his eyes sharp.
And what brings the Sunatak so close to Takakin lands?
Zolesh straightens, matching Tornu's guarded posture.
We hunt these woods, always have. Did not know we be share on Takakin territory.
I can see the muscles in Tornu's jaw tighten. He's holding back, I realize, probably for my sake. Or maybe he's just as wary of offending Zolesh as Zolesh is of him. Uncle, I interject, sensing the growing tension. Zolesh was just telling me about his village. It's not far from here. Maybe we could...
Absolutely not.
Tornu cuts me off, his voice hard.
We're returning home. Now.
Disappointment and frustration surged through me. But uncle, this is exactly what we came out here for. To learn about the world beyond our borders.
I brought you out here to observe within our borders, not to engage recklessly with strangers.
Tornu snaps. Zolesh looks between us, his expression thoughtful.
The young'un speak true.
he says carefully.
If you begin to taka, you will be welcome in our village. Maybe good for both our people to know each other, nah?
I nod eagerly, hope blooming in my chest. See, Uncle, this could be important for our whole tribe. Tornu's face is a mask of conflicting emotions. I can almost see the thoughts racing behind his eyes. His grip on his walking staff tightens, then loosens. Finally, he lets out a long, heavy sigh.
Yorin, he says, his voice low. A word. Privately.
As we step aside, I chance a glance back at Zolesh. He's pretending to adjust his spear, but I can see his eyes flicking towards us, curiosity and caution warring in his expression. Tornu grips my shoulder, his voice barely above a whisper.
This is dangerous, Yorin. We know nothing about these people.
But that's the point, isn't it? I argue, keeping my voice equally low. To learn? You said you'd show me the world, Uncle. This is our chance. Tornu's eyes cloud over, and for a moment he seems to be looking at something far away.
I can't lose you, Yorin,
he murmurs so quietly I almost miss it. A pang of guilt hits me. I hadn't considered how my recklessness might be affecting him. But still, you won't lose me, Uncle. I'll be careful, I promise. We have to do this. For our tribe. For me. Tornu closes his eyes, taking a deep breath. When he opens them again, there's a resignation there, but also a flicker of something else. Pride, maybe?
Very well,
he says finally, turning back to Zolesh.
We accept your invitation, Zolesh of the Sunatak. Lead the way.
As we follow Zolesh through the forest, I can't help but feel a mix of excitement and apprehension. What wonders and what dangers await us in the Sunatak village? And how will this encounter change things for our tribe? For me? There's one thing I'm sure of. Nothing will be the same after today.